嗯，这是干嘛？
他们到底想干啥？他们是不是想要我死呀？我是不是死了才行？
He was found on his scooter outside a residential compound in Hangzhou, not sleeping, not resting, dead. He had been lying there for several hours before anyone noticed something was wrong. Fellow delivery riders passed him, assumed he was taking one of his famously short breaks, the kind where he would lie on his scooter for a few minutes and get straight back up the moment his phone buzzed with a new order. This time, his phone buzzed, and he did not move. He was a middle-aged man. He had no name in the news reports, no age, no hometown, no family mentioned. Just a job title, delivery rider. And a cause of death that the industry did not want investigated too closely. He worked himself to death on a scooter in one of China's wealthiest cities, delivering food for an app that made billions. His death was not an accident. It was not bad luck. It was the predictable, documented, statistically inevitable outcome of a system designed to extract everything from the people at the bottom of it and give almost nothing back. And here is what makes this story more disturbing than it already sounds. He is not the exception. He is the business model. So the algorithm gives them less time than they need, on purpose, by design. Platform companies use stringent algorithms that prioritize efficiency and profit over worker welfare, creating a stressful environment and leading to high accident and fatality rates due to overwork. This is not a secret. This is not a leak. This is publicly documented, academically studied, and repeatedly reported in Chinese and international media. And it keeps happening, because the people making the decisions about how the algorithm works are not the people dying on scooters. The Shanghai Municipal Public Security Bureau Traffic Police Corps reported in 2017 that one delivery rider was being killed or injured every 2 to 3 days in the city, at a time when the number of riders was nowhere near its current level. Part 1. 12 million people trapped in the same machine. China has approximately 12 million food delivery riders working on platforms like Meituan and Elimi right now. 12 million people on scooters, weaving through traffic, climbing stairs, standing in the rain, racing against a countdown timer that was engineered not to give them enough time to complete their delivery safely, because the algorithm learned that if it gives riders exactly enough time, they slow down. And slower riders mean slower deliveries, and slower deliveries mean lower customer satisfaction scores, and lower customer satisfaction scores mean lower platform revenue. That was 2017. The number of riders has more than tripled since then. Do the math yourself. Part 2. What the job actually pays them. Before we go further into how the system kills people, let us establish what it pays them. Because the gap between what these workers earn and what the platforms earn from their labor is the foundation of everything that follows. Riders may earn as little as 1 yuan, 14 US cents, per delivery. 14 cents per delivery in one of the world's largest economies. A 2023 survey by the China Social Sciences Academic Press found that around 50% of food delivery riders have a monthly income of 4,000 to 5,999 yuan, roughly $563 to $845, while only 7% make 8,000 yuan or more a month. Now, let us put that in context. Meituan, China's largest food delivery platform, reported revenues of over 73 billion yuan in the first half of 2024 alone. The company's founder, Wang Xing, is a billionaire. The platform charges restaurants commission fees of 15 to 26% per order. It charges customers delivery fees. It charges advertising fees to restaurants who want better placement in the app. Every layer of this transaction generates revenue for the platform. The rider gets 14 cents per delivery, before costs. When Lu was riding, he often had to rent a scooter and battery, the cost of which would be deducted from his earnings. The scooter is not provided. The insurance is not provided. The fuel is not provided. The rider absorbs every operational cost personally, and then they receive 14 cents per delivery for the privilege of risking their life in traffic. Despite high daily order volumes, intense competition, and commission cuts of 20 to 30%, leave many riders earning just 5,000 to 8,000 yuan per month. After scooter maintenance and fines, little remains. Fines. We will come back to the fines, because the fines are where the system reveals exactly what it thinks of the people keeping it running. Part 3. The algorithm that hunts them. There is a specific mechanism inside China's delivery platforms that former riders describe as the most psychologically and physically destructive feature of the job. It is the timing algorithm, and the way it works is almost elegant in how completely it traps the people inside it. Their timing algorithms are very powerful.
Usually, an order takes about 10 minutes, but if a rider only takes 8 minutes, then the next time the platform will give them only 8 minutes, forcing riders to step on the gas to avoid being penalized for lateness. Read that again. If you are fast, if you work harder, take more risks, run red lights, cut through pedestrian areas, the algorithm learns your speed and sets your next deadline based on that speed. The faster you go, the faster you are required to go. There is no reward for efficiency. Efficiency just raises the bar for the next order. Late deliveries mean bad reviews, deductions, and further pressure to work faster to erase the impact of the bad review on a rider's ratings.
So the system works like this. You go fast. The algorithm demands faster. You go faster. You get into an accident. The accident makes you late. The lateness generates a bad review. The bad review lowers your rating. A lower rating means fewer orders. Fewer orders means less income. Less income means you push harder to make up the difference. And the cycle begins again. Platform algorithms used by Meituan and LMA continually compress delivery times, making wrong-way riding and speeding routine and leading to frequent traffic accidents. Wrong-way riding and speeding are not reckless choices made by irresponsible workers. They are the rational response to an algorithm that has made following traffic laws financially catastrophic.
The platform did not tell anyone to ride the wrong way. It simply built a system where riding the wrong way is the only way to survive economically. And then, when a rider dies in a traffic accident, the platform bears no legal liability because the rider is not an employee. The rider is an independent contractor. That distinction, employee versus independent contractor, is the legal architecture on which the entire system of exploitation is built. Part 4. The contractor trap. More than 60% of riders reportedly lack formal social insurance, leaving them unprotected when injured or unemployed, widely seen as regulatory negligence toward the new labor economy. NPR. In China, social insurance covers medical care, workplace injury compensation, unemployment benefits, and pension contributions.
For a formal employee, these are legally required. For an independent contractor, they are optional, meaning the platform does not pay them. By classifying riders as independent contractors rather than employees, Meituan and LME have legally absolved themselves of responsibility for the people doing the work that generates their billions in revenue. If a rider is injured in a traffic accident while making a delivery, an accident caused by the time pressure the algorithm created, the platform faces no legal consequence. The rider absorbs the medical costs. The rider absorbs the lost income during recovery. The rider absorbs everything. Former delivery rider Lu Chankun said Yuan's death was not an isolated case. The biggest issue in this industry is that there is no welfare protection.
The next biggest problem is the low income. No welfare protection, low income, racing against an algorithm that gets faster every time you meet it. This is the job. This is what 12 million people in China wake up to every day. Part 5. Who ends up here and why? Here is the part of the story that transforms outrage into something deeper. Because understanding who becomes a delivery rider in China requires understanding what happened to China's economy in the years leading up to now. The COVID-19 pandemic exacerbated this shift, resulting in mass unemployment, particularly among workers in traditional manufacturing industries. As factories closed and jobs disappeared, many individuals, especially young people, struggled to secure suitable employment. China's youth unemployment rate reached 21.3% in June 2023, before the government temporarily stopped publishing the data. When reporting resumed, the methodology had been narrowed, but the underlying reality had not changed. Millions of young people, many of them university graduates, could not find formal employment. The delivery platforms were waiting. Meituan and LME did not need to recruit. The economic conditions recruited for them. When there are no factory jobs and no office jobs, and the rent still needs to be paid, a platform that will put money in your account today, no interview, no qualifications required, just a scooter and a phone, becomes the only option available. By 2024, China's migrant worker population had reached nearly 300 million. NPR. These are people who left their villages and their families to find work in cities, who cannot go back because there is nothing to go back to, who are locked into the gig economy not by choice, but by the complete absence of alternatives. And the platforms know this. The platforms built their business model on this. The more desperate the labor pool, the lower the wages they can offer. The lower the wages, the more orders a rider needs to complete to survive. The more orders, the faster the algorithm drives them. And the faster the algorithm drives them, the more accidents occur. And the more accidents occur, the more riders die. The system does not malfunction when riders die. The system functions exactly as designed. Part 6. The kneeling video that broke China's internet.
In August 2024, a video went viral across China that captured everything wrong with this system in a single image. A viral video from Hangzhou showed a delivery driver kneeling before a security guard after being fined for scaling a fence to save time. A grown man, on his knees in front of a security guard because he climbed a fence to save 2 minutes on a delivery so he would not be fined by the platform for being late. The image spread everywhere, not because it was unusual, because every delivery rider in China recognized it immediately. The kneeling was not humiliation in that moment. It was strategy. Apologize to the guard, get the fine waived or reduced, get back on the scooter, take the next order.
This is the calculus of a person with no power in a system that has removed every option except compliance. The incident ignited protests among delivery riders, exposing the exploitation embedded in China's food delivery industry. The protests spread. Riders in multiple cities took to the streets. In Changsha in December 2025, delivery riders protested through the night after a residential compound banned them from entering to make deliveries. Riders faced an impossible choice. The platform would fine and suspend them if they did not deliver, but the building would not let them in to deliver. Fined for delivering, fined for not delivering. The trap had no exit. Special police units were seen jogging in formation to the site to maintain stability. By around 7 a.m., siren-like sounds rang out in the area. Riders responded by circling joyfully in the middle of the road, transforming anger into what some observers described as a grassroots carnival. Men on scooters, circling in the street at dawn, laughing because there was nothing else left to do. That image is more powerful than any statistic. Part 7. The platforms respond, and why it is not enough. To be accurate, the platforms have not been completely silent in the face of this pressure. China's food delivery platforms began competing to roll out social security benefits in 2024 and 2024. JD.com announced it would enter the food delivery business and provide social security schemes for drivers, including housing fund benefits and various types of insurance. Meituan and Alibaba-owned LMO began giving more delivery work to drivers, even though the company stated that LMO will not change the main business model of keeping drivers independent contractors. It did indicate that social security benefits would be provided. Me, followed by announcing they would expand social insurance benefits for their full-time delivery workers. Full-time delivery workers. That phrase is doing enormous work in that sentence, because the majority of riders are not classified as full-time workers. They are classified as flexible workers, part-time contractors, or platform partners. The benefits announced apply to a fraction of the 12 million people doing this work. The rest remain outside the coverage. Food delivery platforms in China will be required to guarantee riders' income above minimum pay, insurance, and a relaxation in deadlines for deliveries under reforms announced by China's market regulator. Reforms announced, required to guarantee. The language of policy is always future tense. The deaths are always present tense. And the fundamental architecture of the system, the algorithm, the contractor classification, the fee structure that makes 14 cents per delivery the going rate, remains intact. You cannot fix Gurosa with a press release. Part 8. The man who drove himself to death. On a sweltering afternoon in Shenzhen in 2024, a researcher scheduled a ride to meet Ayu, a migrant driver in his mid-30s. Arriving in his rented car, Ayu was eager to share his story. As he described the grinding struggle to support his family, his hands trembled. He explained it was excitement and urgency. Finally, someone has come to ask about our situation. Please help us. Not just me, but everyone in this ride-hailing business. We are literally dying. We are driving ourselves to death. You are our saviors. We are literally dying. We are driving ourselves to death. Not metaphorically, not dramatically, literally. A study by Tsinghua University found that drivers were working on average 6.45 days per week, with over 27% driving 12 to 16 hours a day. 12 to 16 hours a day on a scooter in city traffic for 14 cents per delivery. And when they die, found unconscious on their scooters outside residential compounds, collapsed in stairwells, killed in traffic accidents the algorithm made inevitable, the platform releases a statement expressing condolences and reminding the public that the rider was an independent contractor. Not our employee, not our responsibility, not our problem. The man in Hangzhou who was found dead on his scooter had no name in the news reports. That is the most telling detail of everything in this story. 12 million people doing some of the most physically dangerous, economically precarious, algorithmically controlled work in the world. And when one of them dies, the system that extracted his labor does not even record his name. He was a delivery rider. Order completed. Account closed. This is not a story about the gig economy being imperfect. This is a story about a system that was built deliberately by engineers, by executives, by investors, by policymakers who looked the other way to extract maximum value from the most economically vulnerable people available at the lowest possible cost with the minimum possible accountability. The platforms did not accidentally create conditions where riders die. They created conditions where riders dying is cheaper than paying them properly. That is not a malfunction. That is the business model. And until the 12 million people on those scooters are seen as human beings rather than last-mile logistics solutions, nothing will change. The algorithm will keep compressing. The timers will keep counting down. And somewhere in a city you have never visited, a man on a scooter will take one more order because he cannot afford not to. And nobody will know his name.